What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another collaboration beer, this time between the Other Half Brewing Company out of both Brooklyn and East Bloomfield, New York, and the Genesee Brewing Company out of Rochester, New York. And this is their high-density hop charge Genesee Dream Ale. So this is a cream ale that is brewed with oats and lactose, then hopped with Citra, Citra Cryo, and Citra Incognito hops. It comes in at 4.7% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This can is approximately 3 weeks old. I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Dan, for hooking me up with this one. So thank you very much, Dan. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that Dan hooked me up with. But I'm going to be honest with you, this is the star of the beer mail, or it should be. Now, if you want to get right to the review, I would recommend fast forwarding about, I'd say about 3 to 4 minutes, because I want to talk about the history and background of this beer. So they decided, and by they I mean Other Half and Genesee, to collaborate on a beer last year, and they decided on this beer, and they released it, I believe it was in March of last year, 2019, and they did the whole release at the Genesee Brew House, and it was crazy. Apparently, like 500 people were in line, and it sold out pretty much instantly. Unfortunately, I was unable to go to the release, and I didn't trade for a can to review it, and I do regret that. That's one thing I wish I would have done last year. I wish I would have honestly traded for a can and reviewed it, and that's because last year's version is different than this year's version. So what is this beer? It's basically a marriage of the iconic classic Genesee cream ale and the dream treatment that Other Half gives so many of its hop forward beers. They're IPAs, double IPAs, triple IPAs. The dream treatment basically means more or less, train going by the way, I'm not gonna cut this, F you train, we're good. Basically the dream treatment is where they brew the beer with a bunch of oats, bit of lactose, and then they hop the crap out of the beer. That's what they've done with this one. A lot of oats, not a little bit, a lot of oats, little bit of lactose, and then they're using Citra, Citra Cryo, and Citra Incognito hops. Now, the difference between this year and last year's was last year's did not get the high density hop treatment, which I believe Other Half has mentioned once or twice that means they are using a crap ton of hops. They are using it to the tune of 15 pounds of hops per barrel, which is crazy. I don't know if that's the same for this release. I don't know if that's the same for all the HDHC beers, but I remember seeing it when I reviewed a couple HDHC beers on my channel that's what they said, 15 pounds of hops per barrel. So if that's what they gave this beer, then yeah, I'm into it. And last year, I believe they just used Citra. I don't know if they used Citra Cryo and Citra Incognito. I don't remember. Definitely used Citra, though. So it's very similar to last year. I think it's just, more hops. They gave it the HDHC treatment. But, I love Genny Cream Ale. When you're talking about cheap, everyday crusher, Genny Cream Ale at the top of my list. And I love all the dream beers. Not all of them. Most of them from Other Half. There's some that I don't like, because you can't like all beers from, one brewery. I mean, to me, I think it's impossible. But, I love Other Half, one of my favorite breweries. But there are beers that aren't my favorite from them and that I've missed for me personally. But yeah, I love the marriage of these both of these beers, or at least I hope I love the marriage of both these beers. I remember seeing a good friend of mine and a fellow beer tuber, Matt, over Massive Beer Reviews. He reviewed last year's version. He was really enjoying it. And yeah, I'm hoping I like this year's version. So thanks to Dan for hooking me up with this one. Now I have hashtag proper glassware to some extent here. This was the Tiku that they released at last year's release, but you might be wondering how I got it. Well, I showed up to Other Half maybe a couple weeks after the release, and they just got a couple boxes more of this at Other Half, so I grabbed one. Even though I missed out on the beer, I was like, I gotta get that Tiku, and I got the beer. So hashtag proper glassware. Kind of this year they released the Willie Belcher glass, so I don't have the actual glass they released this year, but I have the one they released last year. So we're gonna still say hashtag proper glassware. So let's give it a pour here. Yeah, that's looking like a beer from Other Half. That's honestly looking like some kind of hop forward, crazy, daydream or dream beer. But it's not, I guess. Maybe. Anyway, yeah, I mean, this glass is not great to see, but yeah, it has like this honey, orange, almost yellow color. Has about a 2.5, 3 finger, bright white head, very creamy looking. I poured that quite aggressively. Yeah, it's about 2, I'd say 2 fingers. But yeah, this honestly looks like an IPA at this point. It does. It looks like a 6.5%, regular IPA that's part of their Dream series. Let's get a nose. And it smells like it. I mean, this is a pretty fresh beer at 3 weeks old. And I will say that there is so much citrus and tropical fruit. Yeah, sweeter orange, like a sweet ruby red grapefruit, peach, apricot, making my mouth water, mango. I'm going to, you know, inhale the beer because I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm reviewing a beer all the time. Crushed pineapple. It smells sweet, but not overly sweet. There is like some kind of pith, zesty kind of component from the citrus, kind of weighing down the sweetness from the tropical fruits. And there's this ever so slight bready, crackery base that I'm kind of reminded a bit of Genesee Cream Ale, but I'd be lying to you and be like, oh yeah, totally. If I was reviewing this normally, or doing it as a whodunit / you know, mystery beer review, I would just say that this smells like some kind of hop forward IPA. I might be mistaken for like, I would just say it's an IPA, honestly. That's what it's kind of smelling like. Man, it smells really good though. It smells super juicy, fruity. But, you know, not like over the top. I just kind of want to sit here and smell it because it smells so good. Anyway, it smells awesome. Let's get into it. Cheers to everybody, and thanks again, Dan. That's fucking really cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's just it's just in my mind, like I'm sitting here drinking it and just thinking of the cream ale, thinking of all the other half beers, and man, before I get into it, let's just go body and mouthfeel. Body on this one, 4.5 and 4.7%. This drinks like higher side of light body, lower side of medium body. Has a little bit of heft. I would guess like 5.5 if I was doing a blind. It's, you know, kind of what you expect from a sub 5% beer. But the mouthfeel, this is where the oats and the lactose come in. It's soft, it's smooth, it's creamy. It still has carbonation. I wouldn't even say this is undercarb, really. No, it's a beautiful mixture of this soft, smooth, creamy kind of mouthfeel with enough carbonation to make it somewhat effervescent and spritzy on the tongue. So you know that base beer is still there, but that the oats and the lactose, the dream treatment is just kind of, you know, putting its touches on the beer a bit. The taste, though, is fucking super cool. And I don't know why I'm getting, you know, so like blown away by it, or just like, you know, it's hit me in the feels. I mean, I know why. It's because I love Cream Ale, Jenny Cream Ale, and I love the Dream series and Daydream series from other half, so I'm really liking it. But it's cool because at the beginning of the palate, this tastes like a straight-on IPA. I mean, there is tons, and I mean tons, of citrus components to this one. It's pithy, it's zesty, it's juicy. It's like tangerine and ruby red grapefruit and orange right at the front of the palate, but it's like everything. It's like you just took a bite out of those fruits, so you're getting the whole gauntlet of everything. And then it continues down through the palate, the sweeter peach, mango, and a little bit of like apricot, more stone fruit than tropical kind of hit me. There's this underlying like mild to moderate bitterness that is there as well. But about midway through the palate, I'm hit with the Jenny Cream Ale. I'm hit with it, and it just gives, if you've ever had Jenny Cream Ale, then you will know exactly what I'm talking about midway through the palate to the back of the palate. It just has this like bready, almost slightly crackery kind of malt component to it. A little bit of like a lemon as well. But it turns right in that cream ale in the second half of the palate. It finishes with that mild to moderate bitterness. There's a little bit of sweetness there, a little bit of dryness, but this is a pretty balanced beer overall. What I like is that it comes in stages. The first stage is the hop character of the beer, the dream treatment, the you know, all the fruity characters you would get from the Citra hop. And then in the back end is the cream portion, the cream ale portion, you know, from Genesee. You know, drinks like you would expect a sub 5% beer to drink from an alcohol perspective. This is really cool. I'm going to pour the rest in here, just because why not? But this drink's honestly like a hop, to me, like a hop forward lager, like an IPL. Even though cream ale isn't technically a lager, it just has that kind of same characteristics where in the second half you're just reminded of a cheap everyday crushing kind of beer, which Jenny Cream Ale is. And as you can see, I could drink the rest of this on camera and be done with it. It's so easy to drink. And yeah, I really like what they did with this one. I don't know how last year's tasted, obviously, because I I didn't have it. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, this is so much better than last year's or not as good or whatever. I don't know. I only know how this year's tastes. And I will say I think they did a really good job with it. I think they really did take the cream ale and give it the dream treatment. That's basically what this beer is. Do I have any faults to this beer? Yeah, I mean, maybe I'd want a little bit more complexity from the hop characteristic. Maybe I want to see a little bit more of the cream ale come to the forefront. But at the end of the day, I think they did a great job with this one. So I'm going to give this a rating. Again, this is on personal preference. If you're talking about, like, if you want to rate this a style or what this beer is supposed to be, what this beer should get as far as a Genesee Dream Ale, taking Genesee Cream Ale and combining it with the Dream treatment from Other Half, this would be close to a 5 for me. This would be like a 4.8, something like that, 4.85. It would be almost a 5. But I do have personal preference, and I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you. If you stripped away the label of, you know, the beer and just gave it to me this as a, you know, like blind whodunit beer review on my channel, I would give this, and this is what I'm going to give this as a rating, I would give the Genesee Dream Ale from Other Half and Genesee a high 4.25 out of 5. I go 4.35 out of 5. Almost gets in the 4.5 range. I really like, I just from a taste perspective, I really like this. This is like a easygoing, everyday IPA crusher. This is what this is. I could, as you can see, I drank almost half, probably more than half of the beer at this point in what, 5 to 7 minutes. Like, I could crush these. I could, and they're 4.7%, so you're not getting all fucked up. And I do like that while this is hop forward, it has a mild to moderate bitterness, and none of the flavors are overwhelming, so I don't think I would get sick of the flavors after 2 or 3 cans. I think I could drink an entire 4-pack and enjoy it. So 4.35 out of 5 for this one, the high-density hop charge Genesee Dream Ale from Other Half and Genesee. If you've had this one before, let me know what you think about it. Price and availability, I believe these were brewery only. They may have gotten into some places in Genesee or in Buffalo. I do believe now Other Half does like online online ordering. You can get it delivered. I don't remember seeing these on the site. They could have been totally. So if anyone knows if you did deliver or order these and have them delivered from their website, but I do know if you live, I believe in New York State and Washington, DC, that is. If you live in the District of Columbia, I believe, or New York, you can get these some beers from Other Half online now, which is pretty cool. Price point $16 4-pack. It's $4 a can. You know what? For the nostalgia, for the whole collaboration, the fact that they're using that amount of hops per barrel is ridiculous. So $4 a can I'm okay with. Typically a beer like this I'd like to see in, like, you know, the $12 to $14 range, but $16 4-pack I'm fine with. So huge thanks to Dan for this one. Awesome that I got the chance to review it. Hashtag a proper glassware, the whole 9. It was a lot of fun. I'm gonna go drink the rest of this off camera. Probably take me about 5 minutes, and I'm gonna enjoy every single second of it. So once again, if you've had this one before or last year's version, let me know what you think about it. I think they did an amazing job with this one. And yeah, I'm pumped to see if they do something new next year. Maybe a different hop, who knows? I don't know. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by. Thanks again to Dan. To the next one, cheers.